Hey, welcome back to Change the Odds for Marriage and Family. We're never meant to be a game of chance. Blaine and Adrienne, we're back.
Well, we back.
Here we are.
We got it.
How is it? We're recording this on a Friday, which is very unusual for us.
Yeah.
Because I normally like to play
But
golf.
it's raining, so you're not golfing.
It is raining.
Yeah.
It is.
So it worked out.
So how about this? I did text my buddies in Arkansas to say, hey, we got measurable rain. Because up where I live,
They measure the rain.
Well, everybody measures the rain.
Oh.
Like the
Because I was like, we do that. Sorry.
We do that on the farms.
that's the nerdiest thing I've ever.
No, that's the conversation. It's like, oh, we got 4 millimeters of
that's all they
rain.
talk
That's
about.
what you talk
Yeah,
about.
I get it.
Where we
I
grew
thought
up.
it was
Sorry, that's
5,
what-
Joe. No,
I
it was
thought
4.
that's where you were going.
Measurable rain, meaning the National Weather Service would say you actually got rain, and
Right.
it's the first. So here we are at the end of September. It's the first measurable rain we've gotten since Mother's Day,
Wow.
and so
Wow.
which is normal around here. But
Yeah.
my friends in Arkansas are like, that's the craziest thing I've
I
ever
know.
heard.
Yeah.
That's why they should come over here and join some of the retreats that we have.
Oh,
in
that's
this
exactly
beautiful
right. And yes.
state of California.
That's a great idea.
All right, I have a
All right. I'm sorry.
Hold on.
Sorry, I got eager. I was trying to be
We're
assertive.
back. We're back to Q&A. We're
Number
doing Q&A
9
again.
is just going to sit back.
So if you want to text marriage to 56316, all these are anonymous questions that come in. We get those, and the questions that we have today now come from that. Except Adrienne apparently has a question.
Whatever, Kevin. I'm fine.
Road-
Okay, I do have a question before we enter the questions.
Okay.
What are a few things that you as a marriage expert see that like us to the untrained eye might be like, oh, that's fun. Look at them doing that. But you are like, that's kind of a red flag.
Oh,
Interesting.
Your
yeah.
marriage might be in
Yes.
trouble here.
Yeah.
Things that
But
I
we're
can't.
like, oh, look at them. They
Oh,
posted a
that's fun.
selfie.
That's
Oh
fun.
yeah. Well, so the one I'm known most for, and I think maybe we've talked about this before. I don't remember actually, is average person at a wedding, and they watch a couple cut the cake. Have we talked about this? Have we talked about the cake?
I don't know.
So thanks for paying attention.
Yeah.
So, and they get a little physical in the midst of feeding the cake.
Oh, aggressive.
Oh, yep. We've seen that. And you're like,
And-
oh, this is uncomfortable.
And I'm over here like, yeah, that has no chance.
yes, we
Right.
have. I've heard you
Yes.
talk about this.
So there is that aspect, and it's not whether or not they do that. It's as you're watching this, can you see the moment that one of them needs to de-escalate, but instead they escalate? Well, if they do that in front of everybody with a wedding cake, what are they going to do when the fight is on in the house and nobody's around? They're not going to have the ability to restrain themselves. And so that it's not just fighting over the wedding. It's not smashing the cake that's the danger. It's the lack of respect that is evident in something like that. Somebody literally sent me one today, and it was as bad as it's been. And they're like, this couple, I don't think they're going to make it to the honeymoon. And my point was, look, if they prearrange that,
Okay.
if she early on said, you know what I want to do? I want to have a knockdown drag out with the wedding cake. And he's like, all right, let's do that. Then great.
Yeah.
They can communicate all those kind of things. But chances are that's not what happened. Chances are they ended up going to the ground while everybody else was watching because neither one had the ability to hold back. But there are other things. There are other things that maybe you wouldn't think about that sometimes I see. I don't know if this is fair, but this is true. If you change your social media post from you and your husband to you and your child, I got questions.
What do you mean change your
Like your
post?
profile picture?
Mhm.
Oh, the old
Oh, well,
profile.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's.
You
I think
know-
every girl knows that.
Just a little
that?
like
Yeah, because-
every girl in me.
Yeah, because
Kevin
it's
and the
like,
galaxy.
oh, her husband ain't in there anymore. That's
Oh,
what
red flag.
happened.
It's interesting.
Something's going on.
It is
Oh.
interesting. And not that you can't have a picture with your child. That's great.
Sure.
That's great. It just intrigues me.
Interesting.
Another thing
Yeah.
that maybe some people don't recognize. If one of the spouses suddenly gets into shape,
Uh-oh.
and-
Oh, no.
but haven't you always been in shape?
Yes.
I feel,
Thank you, Kevin.
I feel like I can't. This is a very dangerous question for me to ask.
As long as you've
Because-
known her, you've noticed
You know
she's
what?
in good physical shape.
I have had seasons. It's seasonal,
Yeah.
but I have always made like
A healthy, conscious choice of fitness.
trying to keep in
Healthy.
shape.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right.
And
It's
it's a
not like
healthy-
something I just did.
It's a healthy
Yeah.
form of it. Yeah.
No
Yeah.
red flag for
Yeah.
me that whatsoever.
Okay.
Here's what's interesting. Sometimes, not always.
Okay.
Sometimes when one spouse suddenly starts working out and becomes kind of obsessed with it in a way they haven't been before.
Yeah.
Two possibilities. One, they might unknowingly be preparing to find the next person
Oh,
because they feel a
Ooh,
disconnection
That's dark.
in their
That is
relationship.
very dark.
And they don't. It's not necessarily a conscious thing.
Yeah.
It's that they can feel the disconnection. And here's how important attachment is to our relation to our lives.
Mm-hmm.
That if we feel any sense of detachment, that's danger to us, and we will do things to make sure that we are attached to somebody. And so sometimes that can be an underlying thing. The other thing that can be a warning sign there is some people don't recognize that if you start a new workout community or whatever, that's all great. You just need to have very strong boundaries
Yeah.
because suddenly working out in groups is far more powerful and far more effective. However, now you're in relationship with these people that
Yeah.
opens you up.
Yeah.
Years ago, CrossFit was the number one kind of workout of the time. And I just wrote this article, Beware the CrossFit Affair, because I was dealing with it all the time.
Wow.
And people weren't going there with the idea of this is going to happen,
Right.
but they just didn't have boundaries.
Right.
And now they're working out and all these things. And then this happened. Well, I wrote this article. People went ballistic. Ballistic. How dare you? All these things. And I'm like, if I walk into a doctor's office and the doctor says, hey, be careful because people who are drinking Cokes, have a higher rate of cancer. I don't in that moment go, how dare you?
Yeah. Right.
I'm like, oh, I might want to think about that.
Right.
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 But their response in that moment, as I was talking about all these things that I'm seeing, was not, oh, okay, let's be
Right.
careful. I did have a couple boxes who took my article and pinned it up and said, hey, pay attention to this. Because I gave some guidelines.
Yeah.
As you're working out, here's what I would do and not
Yeah.
do. I had a couple that went crazy. Here's what's interesting. Some of the loudest critics.
We're having an affair.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't say that. You said that. But yes.
I don't know who these critics are. I don't care.
In the weeks to come,
Yeah.
it was revealed,
Well, obviously
here's-
they're feeling like you're attacking.
Yes,
Yeah, it
here's
makes
what they
sense.
shouted out so much. Another, I'll do one more before we get into this Q&A, unless y'all have more. When there is a very expensive gift given without any context, I'm like, what'd he do?
What did he do?
Oh, yeah. This is like, that's why we love reality TV, I
Yes.
think, because it's all these things playing out and we're like trying to figure out, okay, here
Yeah.
we go. It's like,
The
It's
tea.
bad.
They
It's
love
bad.
the tea.
oh,
They-
I love the tea.
I don't know what that means.
So the
Like-
gossip,
like, yeah,
the
like, what's the
drama.
tea?
Oh,
What-
as you're
what's-
drinking
what's go-
tea.
No,
Oh,
it's not real
no?
tea. It's like a saying. I think like the Gen Z's made it.
This could be
maybe.
a whole different show.
Let's see.
The tea, like spill the tea. It's like, what's the gossip?
Yeah.
What's the hot
Okay.
gossip?
Spill the tea.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I was just going back to the workout thing. Also, I think because I want to make sure
So a
we're
little
fine.
concerned.
No. But when people also start obsessing over their body, I think it's a form of control in a way where maybe they're feeling out of control in their
Yes.
marriage or at their home. Like, I just need to go. Like, I can control the way I
Yes.
feel.
Yes.
And there's also that element of like, we do need to move our bodies and it can create endorphins and all that
Yeah,
stuff, like
yeah.
mental health,
Yes.
clarity and stuff in a
Highly
healthy
encourage it.
way.
Highly
Yeah.
encourage it.
Yeah.
And no judgment of if your friend suddenly starts working out, go, oh, don't do that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, right.
the last thing we need is
But it's-
not to work out.
It's like the obsessive nature of
Yeah.
it. It's like, oh, and maybe you're getting your hair, or you're getting it. I don't
Yes.
know. It's just like,
It's
yeah.
something to be aware of.
Yeah.
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 And I would imagine that there's a form of flattery when you're in those communities and this bond that you're making with these people of you're reaching new heights together. There's like
Yeah.
that
Well,
relationship.
and that's not just working out though. I
This
think
was my point too. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
because my friend was like, "Have you seen Dancing with the Stars lately?" And I was like, "No." And they're like, and then we talked about it, and it's like these couples are coming together and having this intimate time, and
Oh,
they're
yeah.
sweaty and they're dancing,
Yes.
and there's all. It's like the affairs
Are happening
are
there.
breeding. It's a
Yes.
breeding ground.
Breeding
Yes.
ground.
Oh, well, you're setting yourself up. If you do not have strong boundaries
Yeah.
there, you're, yeah.
It's just
So,
dangerous. yeah.
to finish my point.
Sorry,
which
I'm so sorry.
Was what I thought it's right there, but now I'm just thinking about. Okay, so it's those same boundaries that you're talking about for this fitness world because they're making these connections. How similar would they be to the work world, where suddenly there's work relationships and like it's just that awareness piece, right? Where
No,
it's
the most likely people you are to have an affair with are coworkers first, friends second.
Really?
So it's not uncommon in a friend group
mm,
for two people to suddenly start having an affair. Why? Because you're spending time together.
yeah,
And you already have a connection.
And there's a connection, and sometimes it can also be easy to kind of excuse because it's not completely unusual for y'all to be communicating in some way,
right.
and so it's easier to hide. So people sometimes will miss it. But then anybody you're spending a significant amount of time with is where the danger tends to be. It generally isn't the idea you're driving down the road, you see somebody, and somehow that would be difficult, I would think, to hook up in that way.
Right.
Unless you're intoxicated.
But instead, okay, I don't know what.
Well, I'm sure it happens though.
True.
Yes. So
I'm just saying it's probably rare.
anybody
Anyways,
you're spending time with, is a danger, and workout is a great example. If you're going 3 to 4 days a week or every single day, seeing the same group of people, every day, that's great. That's fine. I have no problem with that. Don't stop. What I'm saying is be aware.
Yeah.
Have boundaries. Communicate.
Hold on.
Your guard up.
Can we make a positive on this? What if the couple works out together?
It's one of the best things you can do to raise your marital satisfaction.
Hey, you want to join me?
I might.
It's one of the best. It is one of the best things that you can do. Couples who work out together. Because think they're getting all the things that we're afraid of that might cause the affair. They're now getting.
Right.
Yeah.
One thing you can do. Some people hate whenever I give this advice because they're like, "How dare you talk about affairs in a positive way?" And there's our clip. Yeah. So they're like, "How dare you talk about affairs in a positive way?" But here's the thing. Let's learn.
Yeah.
What is it that can tempt us? And are there ways that we can, in healthy ways, incorporate that into our marriage? Now, what I'm not talking about, let's watch the pornography, learn, and include that in our bedroom. Not talking about that one bit. What I am talking about is this. Hey, you know what? Sometimes people who work out start having affairs. Why? Because the endorphins, the change in the body, the encouragement. All right, what would it look like if we as a couple begin to work out? Okay, sometimes coworkers have affairs. Why? Because they become emotionally close. Okay, how can we make sure that we are communicating with each other in very emotional ways? You know what? Sometimes as a guy or gal is traveling, they have an affair on the road because they're not going to get caught, the freedom that's there. Okay, what would it look like if we went on vacation on occasion and found that freedom and that fun that's actually there outside the control and confinements of work? Learn from those kind of things and then apply them in a positive way.
I was laughing because of a show. Of
Modern Family?
Yeah,
where they role play.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
They pretend they don't know each other.
Yes.
Hey, don't you have a question that kind of...
On pornography?
No.
No. Well, he mentioned that, and do we go there?
Okay.
I have lots of questions.
Go ahead.
Which one should we go there?
Go ahead.
Okay, let's do that.
They've been texted in. We're answering them.
Yeah. Okay. Which one? Boundaries. Okay.
This is compelling television right now.
Let's do this. Okay. What boundaries are not pornography related? I don't think. What boundaries are around phones? What boundaries around phones, opposite sex friendships, and social media actually protect a marriage instead of choke it out? Okay.
So what are healthy boundaries as opposed to constrainment and I feel like a lack of trust, right? So I think couples have to have this conversation with each other. One thing that they need to do is so I have a book coming out. I don't know if y'all heard that. So next year, Creation of Us, one thing that we talk about now is you have to have the vocabulary of us. So we talked about this before. What does vacation mean, right? For one, vacation it might mean non-ending intimacy. For the other one, it's like, I'm going to have total freedom, whatever. What does it mean? What does the word faithful mean? Okay. Well, if we don't define that word, so he could be thinking faithful means I never have sex with anybody else.
Right.
She might be thinking faithful is you're trustworthy in everything that you do. Well, the next thing you know, he can be unfaithful and think that he's not, or she can be unfaithful and her not believe that. So first of all, let's define that. So I would think faithfulness would mean that I'm being trustworthy and honest in every communication I send with anybody. To such an extent that if Jenny heard it, saw it, read it, she would feel no discomfort whatsoever, and it would drive us closer together, not farther apart. So boundaries. It means it changes how you text people. It changes the frequency with which you text people. So years ago, long time ago, kids were really little, and there was an older woman in our church, and one night at 10 o'clock, I'm sitting on the couch, and she texts me a question. And so she and I go back and forth texting on this, and it just hit me, this could look bad.
Right.
Like late night, multiple, like if you just saw the phone bill, back and forth, right? All these texts.
Right.
And so I just said, hey, Jenny, FYI.
Yeah.
Hey, here's what's going on right now. Now, was Jenny concerned about that? No, she didn't care one bit. But it was a way for her to go, okay. And so to have that have that openness and transparency, I think is a positive thing. A couple things I do, you don't have to do them. You will never see me put my phone down on a table like that if I'm with it. Now, whenever I speak on a Sunday morning, it's not uncommon for me to put my phone down like that and leave because I'm not going to be in the room and I don't want people just sitting there reading my text without me being present. But any other time I'm here, it's going to be up like that. Why? Because I never want to have Jenny a sense of what are you hiding? Is he hiding something over there? And so we transfer phones easily. It's never hesitation for her to pick up my phone. Red flags to me. If your spouse has a password that you don't know, okay,
that is strange.
Why? If there's you can't use my phone. If there's a nervousness, oh my god, no. Well, what are you hiding? There. And so those are all things that I would be extremely aware of. Opposite sex friendships, to me, it's a very open, transparent kind of conversation. And as much as you can, you pull your spouse into that. I have some friends that it's a group chat. As we're communicating, it's a group chat that's happening. So it's not a direct kind of conversation. I can't think of any female apart from family members that I would text on a regular, ongoing basis, just between the two of us.
Yeah.
It just doesn't seem right to me.
Unnecessary.
Yeah.
Make it a group chat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless you're planning like a surprise or something. Is my only thought.
That is where my mind went too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. What's the old line? This isn't mine. The old line is we have, in this family, we have surprises, but we don't have secrets.
Yeah. That's good. And I think that there's an element here. We're in ministry. Like, it is on the forefront of my mind. Never, ever be in a situation where optically it looks bad.
Yes.
Phone related, car related, office related, anything. But when I was in the business world, that never was a thought. I'm like, I'm doing business. This is an employee. I'm not thinking that. But I think we trick our minds into thinking that's fine.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just trying to speak now to like that business guy or gal that's almost flirting with the line, right? And they know, and I'm praying for conviction there, because they know deep down, don't flirt with the temptation of the line, right?
Yeah.
Because I think it's too easy to belittle something. Oh, it's just an employee. It's just a friend, whatever. No. You're building a connection there, one-on-one. That's not right, I think.
Well, I also think you want to trust your spouse on those things too. Okay. If your spouse is uneasy about a coworker, don't just jump in and get defensive, but instead, okay, what's going on? And to recognize your spouse's uncomfortableness is a serious concern within your own life. It's not just that I want to be faithful to Jenny. I also want her to feel and know that I'm faithful to her.
Right.
It's not enough to be able to say, I've never done anything. Okay, I don't want her to feel in any way that I've done anything. Right. And so to recognize that I do have a responsibility there. And many times it can be that, look, nothing is going on. But this is a sign that maybe we're disconnected in other ways, or there could be old wounds that are here.
Yeah.
It could be that, you know what, look, her dad did this, and now there's a fear. And to be sensitive toward that. And, I would never want to include. So what are some ways that we can go about? And then I also think there's a concept here of, let's be practical about how we're living life. Look, so Jenny, in a business world, me in the ministry world, I would never be in a car alone with another woman that's not a family member, ever. Again, I don't want to be driving down the road and a church member look over and judge that and wonder about that. I don't want to give them the wrong impression. I don't want to give me the wrong impression. All right, Jenny, back whenever she was working for a company, they would go on road trips, and there would have to be some of those things that would take place. And so how do you talk through that with a certain level of openness, but also trust that is there, and to recognize different professions are going to have different protocols. But in the end, let's make sure that we're defining our boundaries. Here's where the most dangerous place comes in whenever it comes to an affair. It's a boundary that I've drawn that I then begin to waffle on. That's the dangerous spot. I've said I won't do this, and now, this one time. No,
Stop.
There's a reason you said you wouldn't do it. And now that you're waffling, that is where the real danger spot begins to come.
Right.
Okay, so kind of leading from that, what if The line has been crossed, right? And how do you forgive when your partner's addiction, whether porn, TV, or even work, has stolen your trust? How do you
Yeah.
move forward?
Yeah. So in Friends, Partners, and Lovers, we talk about this a little bit. That trust can go away in two ways: explosion or erosion.
Mm-hmm.
Erosion is just the slow drip of you not consistently doing what you're supposed to do. Explosion is the addiction was revealed, porn was seen on the computer, an affair happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
You find out a financial lie that's been happening this whole time, and immediately it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the good news: whether it's gone by erosion or explosion doesn't matter so much as regarding how you recreate it.
Mm-hmm.
You recreate it brick by brick.
Mm.
It is this slow, methodical, doing exactly what you say day after day after day after day to prove that once again you are in fact trustworthy. And for the person that has broken the trust, it's going to take a dogged determinism for you to say, this is so important to me that I don't expect you to trust me right now. I expect you to ask questions. I expect you to have doubts on occasion, but I'm going to prove to you over time that I am trustworthy again. And then on the other person, it is this idea of, look, you don't deserve trustworthiness right now. I'm not going to be foolish
Yeah.
and pretending like we can just, I'm just going to forgive. That means everything is right. No, I
Right.
can forgive, absolutely. But you have to re-earn what this actually looks like. I'm going to give you opportunities to do so. And then within all of that, to recognize that one of the best ways to rebuild or gain trust is actually not in not making mistakes, but in how you deal with those mistakes. And so whenever we're dealing with somebody with an addiction, let's say they have a drinking problem and man, they had a drink. But whenever they did, the next day they called their sponsor and they did everything they're supposed to be. You're like, that person's growing.
Yeah.
Like
Progress.
they're figuring it out now. Okay. So how is it that I handle now the mistakes I make? Now, this isn't an idea of my husband's had an affair that broke trust. Oh, he slipped up and had another one, but he was honest about it. It's not.
No.
I'm not saying that
Right.
at all.
Not justifying the sin
No.
or the
But it is instead of, you know what, I lost my temper. And instead of ignoring that, I come back and I own that.
Yes.
Honey, I'm so sorry with how this happened and what I
Yes.
said, and then to learn in some way. So it literally, how do you rebuild it? It can be rebuilt. And that's the beautiful thing here. It is brick by brick. But here's how it can't be rebuilt. It can't be rebuilt through denial.
Who's denying?
In other words, I confessed it. Now we're not going to in any way explore why it happened, what happened.
Yeah.
We're going to pretend like, all right, I'm just going to wipe the slate clean and let's go from here.
Restart.
No, the conditions that allowed the broken trust to happen still exist.
Yeah.
You had it literally, it is like an exploratory surgery.
Right.
We have to now go in and clean out the wound, and it was painful. It's harmful, it feels like. But in the end, that's the way that's going to lead to healing.
And that's for like the person who made the mistake and the person on the other end of the mistake too, right? Like it's like, let's say the husband cheated and the wife just like, okay, that happened. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Right?
No,
It has to be both of
yes,
them.
that's denial.
Okay.
That's
yeah.
denial. Yeah.
That's what
and here's the thing. He is 100% responsible for the choices that he made. In no way is she responsible. They are both responsible for whatever state of their marriage, what it was, and then somewhat as it goes moving forward. And so in many cases, as you're dealing with what happened, you're going, look, this was a foolish choice and you're 100% responsible for it. Sometimes the marriage wasn't very good. All right, that part, she can own her part in that. She's not owning the affair. She's owning her part in that because what I tell couples all the time, I'm not asking you to go back to the way life was. I want it better than that. I want it much better than that.
And have you seen couples who've gone through affairs or like really hard times come out on the other side years later better, stronger?
I have seriously, it would I could in my phone right now go with multiple couples who would say this. She would say, if the only way for us to have the marriage that we have now is for him to make the foolish choice that he made and for us to go through all that pain, I would choose it again.
Good.
Now,
Wow.
obviously they wouldn't want that.
Yeah.
Can we have this without that?
Yeah.
But if the only way for us to have this
Yeah.
is to have gone through that, we would do it again.
Because you have to go back and do the work now.
Yeah.
Like you have to
all the work
makes-
that you hope to do prehab to do before, because as I'm having conversations with people and guys about some of these things, especially the pornography topic, it's like there's this sense of it's so compartmentalized in his mind of I did this,
Yeah.
I said sorry, I move on. It wasn't a connection relationship. There, I
Yeah.
don't feel anything towards it. And the excuse I often hear is, well, we weren't having any sex anyway.
Yeah.
And it's like, hold up. That didn't. You're just trying to justify now your sin. You made a very selfish decision.
Yeah.
You were weak. That I get. But what's the root cause of this
Yeah.
desire that you're trying to fill up? And then to learn how to communicate said desires, if we're talking just strictly physically and the need for intimacy for him or her, whatever it is, to communicate that, right? That's where, our intimacy level went way high because of this idea of, you seem stressed. Are you okay? No, I don't know what's going on, but okay, we need to do that. Yeah, that's great. And now we're moving past, but we learned how to communicate. It's like, how do you get to the bottom of the actual pain and the reason that you kind of go there
Yeah.
down an affair? What are we missing? That's what
Yeah. It's interesting regarding pornography and regarding pornography, generally speaking, whenever that comes to light, he feels like he understands it's wrong, but he feels like I haven't done anything to her.
Yeah.
This was my mistake. This is my thing.
It won't affect her?
It won't. That's
In a
what,
way,
that's what
is
he
that?
thinks. That's what he
Okay.
thinks.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with her.
Right.
She thinks this is 100% about me, and you've done this to me, and understandably so. Ironically, here's kind of what needs to happen. They need to switch perspectives. Pornography has very little to do, if nothing to do, with the spouse. Because here's what Jay Stringer is going to say. A brilliant guest. You can go back and listen to an old episode. Jay Stringer is going to say pornography is not about lust. It's about power. It's about unmet needs. And so if you remember the episode with Jay Stringer, he's the one who can take your search history. If you've had an inappropriate search history and without any other knowledge, he can predict with a great accuracy what your family of origin was like.
Right.
Because pornography is an unhealthy way to cope with unmet needs, many times that arose in the midst of your childhood. These are patterns.
Oh.
And so,
Wow.
ironically, the man, is somewhat right that this actually doesn't have anything to do with her. That's the perspective she needs to take. Difficult to recognize. This actually isn't about me. It's about his unmet needs,
Wow.
and he doesn't know how to deal with those appropriately or properly, and so he deals with them through a sexual outlet that is unhealthy and destructive and dangerous. And if he doesn't figure this out, it's going to end us.
Right.
But it's not about me.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting.
At the same time, he needs to recognize this is absolutely about her.
Mhm.
I made vows to her. I made
Yes.
promises to her.
Yes.
I'm
Right.
committed to her.
Yes.
And I am now stepping out of that relationship and meeting these needs in unhealthy ways. This is 100% about her. And so the irony to me is if they would switch mindsets,
Good.
then you have a chance to get to growth. And then ultimately, anytime there's an addiction, affair, or adultery, abuse, a professional needs to get involved.
Yes.
This is, you can come see us
Yes.
and we will encourage you,
Yes.
give you some hope,
Yeah.
and then we'll send you to a professional.
Yeah.
Because this is where somebody needs to get in and help
Yeah.
you discover
Yeah.
what are the needs underneath.
Yeah.
What is unmet? What is it that you don't know how to cope with? You don't know how to deal with? You're now turning to this in an unhealthy way instead of turning to a healthy vulnerability, all those kind of things. And it really is this. You can look at it almost like a treatment of chemo, that it takes a long series of treatments. And then on the other side, you can both individually be in a place that you never imagined,
Right.
and then together have a relationship you never even begin to fathom, which is why I don't call couples to regain what they had.
Yes.
I call them to go towards something that's far better.
That
Ooh,
is
redemption.
preach.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's the gospel.
absolutely. That
Oh, there
is-
you go. Look at that. Oh, wow.
Hello.
Suddenly we're in the Bible study podcast with Adrienne.
They should have us on. Anyway.
No, that's for
We
another
wanna
day.
learn.
Do you have a question or you want me to
No,
go?
go for it.
So on that topic, when sex is infrequent or one spouse avoids it altogether, how can couples talk about intimacy without shaming or shutting each other down?
Yeah. So infrequent sex is troublesome here, unless a few things are happening. Obviously, pregnancy, medical conditions that are present, age begins to play
What about,
into
like,
it.
past
It's
trauma?
simple. Yes, trauma's an issue within
Okay.
it, no doubt. It's something that needs to be dealt with.
Yeah.
So here's what we have to recognize. We have to recognize it is not friends, partners, and maybe lovers.
Right.
That's not the title of the book. It is friends, partners, and lovers. They are all present as an integral aspect of what's going on. Now, intimacy is more than just sex, but sex has to be a part of it, unless there is some kind of extenuating circumstance of why it can't be. So whenever it is infrequent, that to me is a yellow flag, not a red flag. It's a yellow flag that, all right, what's going on within the relationship? As we talked about before, let's begin to explore. Where is the friendship? Are we good friends? Where's the partnership? Does one of you feel taken advantage of? Have we developed into a parent-child relationship? Because actually, in a parent-child relationship, intimacy you don't want. That shouldn't be present, right?
Yeah.
So let's begin to look at these things. We can look at past trauma. Are there things that are going on? Sometimes the couple has just failed to prioritize it. And they've drifted into these habits that are destructive. It's why whenever you cut screen time, whenever you take the TV or take screens out of the bedroom and you're intentional about spending more time there, couples tend to sleep together more. The amount of sexual frequency greatly increased in the early months and even year of COVID. Why? People were home.
And bored.
And yes. So part of it is, I mean, Gottman is going to say a healthy sex life comes down to two things. Friends who prioritize it.
Oh.
He's just going to say it's that simple. I'm going to say friends, partners, but he's going to say it's that simple. So if there is no active addiction, abuse, or adultery, if there isn't past trauma, if there's no extenuating circumstance that we need to explore, all right, let's strengthen our friendship and really prioritize. We're going to make this an important part of who we are. But oftentimes, because it is such an issue of vulnerability and intimacy, couples don't know how to have the conversation.
Yeah.
And it's actually an area in which, listening to a podcast together can be useful, reading a book. It's one of the areas where whenever it comes to sexual satisfaction, apart from active addiction, abuse, or adultery, you can have the quickest return on investment with counseling. Because they see it all the time. And you walk in feeling so unusual and so ashamed about this. You don't know how to talk about it with each other. And you walk in, and you sit down, and the counselor can see the uncomfortableness and then encourage you into the conversation. And then it becomes easier. And once you can actually have a conversation, I would say the greatest indicator of sexual satisfaction for those couples who are generally healthy is, can you talk about it? If you can't, you have very little chance. If you can,
I like that.
what can hold you back?
We do like that because we love talking about it. And I like it.
Do you though? Do you? Do you both love talking about it?
Yeah.
Starting to.
Oh, there you go.
But I used to not be.
Yeah.
Oh, so what's allowed that to happen? I'm flipping the
yes,
Q&A. I'm
yeah.
asking y'all questions now.
Well, okay. So I grew up in a culture where it was like,
Oh yeah.
very legalistic. So no. Married, go ahead.
Yeah,
And I believe we should save sex before marriage and all that. But no one talked to me about it. Even leading up to it. So it was just like a shame thing for me.
Oh, yeah.
And so then I brought that in. And then honestly, an older, wiser couple just talked about it with us.
Yes,
And that was
yes.
like, oh, we can talk about this. So
They made it very okay
Yeah.
for you to be allowed to enjoy it.
yeah.
Yes.
Right? In the
Yes.
most beautiful pastoral way
Yeah.
that they could have.
Yeah, it wasn't vulgar or weird or gross or
It was
anything else.
honoring each other,
Yeah,
all
yeah,
those types of things.
Yeah, yeah.
That was a big
normalized
breakthrough.
it, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And then I will say too, it's we learned how to communicate needs. We talked about this already in the podcast. It's the idea that I should just expect it to be at my beck and call is just stupid and
Yeah.
ridiculous. I have to make sure that we're seeing eye to eye, we're helping each other out. And you've talked about this is do the dishes in the morning, see what happens at night,
Yeah.
and it's this idea of wanting to help each other and love the partnership type of thing.
Yeah.
And we're
And-
starting to see that.
And it became healthy conversation between us that I felt comfortable bringing it to other people who need to talk about it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause
Well,
I
this is the power of, we have here marriage mentoring,
Yeah.
Mhm.
where you have a couple who's just a little bit further down the road than you.
Yeah.
And you're going through some very basic material, and it comes to the sex conversation, and everybody's uncomfortable. And you sit down the table, and the next thing you know, we're adults. We can actually talk about this, and then it just eases the
Yeah.
communication.
And I see now too, thinking about this question, it's the freedom that we've felt is so wonderful that we want to share that. We want to share the good news of that to the next couple. It's listen, guys, this is actually a beautiful thing.
Mhm.
And I will also say too, I think the best seasons of intimacy have been when we are both chasing after spiritual maturity. When we're growing in our faith has been the seasons where we feel very connected.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yep.
Yeah.
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 So,
Well, it's more powerful whenever you have a sense of identity that you're bringing to the bed than trying to find identity in the bed.
oh, yes.
Hello.
That's where the danger
Yes.
becomes.
Yes.
And if we're not very careful, especially men, but not always, if we're not very careful, women sometimes can feel unloved. So now they're going to try to feel it in the midst of the act by giving this to her husband.
Right.
And then it just changes what the whole point and purpose of intimacy really is. Instead of it being an expression of love, we're turning it into trying to be the source of it. And that makes it difficult.
It's so good.
Mm-hmm.
It's a whole episode. Okay. Okay. Here's a question. Let's move on from that. But it's maybe not. Moving on. Is separation ever a healthy step for a struggling couple? If so, how do you make sure that there's a path back together?
There are times in which that needs to happen. Sometimes the conflict is so hot that the couple can't navigate it, and they really kind of need a timeout, and that can even be a timeout from living together, and one moves out. So no doubt there's an aspect of that. There's another aspect of if there is active addiction, abuse, or adultery. I would not live with that person. Now, that's harder advice where we live in California, where housing is so expensive. It's much easier. My old life in Arkansas. But I would always say I would not live with an active addict. I would live with a recovering one, but not an active one. Because as long as you're living with an active addict, they are married to the drug and not you.
Wow.
And so you have to give them space and time to figure that out. And clearly, if there's any threat of physical or emotional abuse, you want to remove yourself from that situation. It doesn't mean the marriage is over. Physical abuse, I would say it probably is. Emotional, we got to be careful about. Addiction doesn't mean the marriage is over, but the marriage can't continue with them being addicted. And so we got to give them time to figure this out. So there are pathways back, and especially if the tension is so high. All right, let's go our separate ways for a little bit as we're doing counseling, as we're having these specific meeting times. A lot of times what couples will do is they'll start to date again. As they're doing work, they're living apart.
Like each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
No, just clarify.
That also happens sometimes too.
Yeah.
And the other way. So yes, separation at times, but here would be my advice on that. Separation is a tool I would only want a professional to use. I would never recommend it to somebody apart from the aspects that I just laid out. And even then, many times you're probably on the pathway to divorce if there's addiction or abuse. But I would want a professional to be overseeing this process to make sure, because here's what can happen: is couples are like, hey, we're just going to take a time out, and rather than dealing with the issues, they start kind of feeling the freedom of the tension's not as high anymore and I feel better. And they get used to living their own lives. And then it's just a pathway to divorce. And unfortunately, sometimes divorce is a necessary outcome. But in our culture, we leverage it far too often.
You're right.
Yeah.
That's good. You got one, babe?
Let's do one more.
Okay. How do you encourage your spouse in their walk with God without sounding like their parent or preacher?
Well, I mean, I can sound like their preacher, actually.
I guess you can, but not their spouse.
Yes. I think, I mean, this goes back to stay in your lane, right? What's mine, what's theirs, what's God's. So what's mine? My own spiritual life is mine. How I operate, how I act, whether or not I'm in worship, whether or not I'm in Bible study, whether or not I'm in the midst of a healthy community, serving others. So first and foremost, I have to do that. Now, because here's what can happen. Somebody specifically with an anxious attachment, remember anxious attachment, we tend to think we are being held back because other people aren't doing what they're supposed to do. So it wouldn't be, let's go gender stereotypes here. Let's go a woman with an anxious attachment who is like, I want my husband to lead. I want my husband to do this. I want my husband to do that. And I want our family to be this. And he's not doing that, but she's not either. And so she's taking no responsibility for her own spiritual life, thinking as soon as he's ready, then we're going to do it. And then all the blame's on him. So that's never the way to do it. You are fully responsible for your own relationship with God. So handle what you control. Control what belongs to you. Now, how can I begin to influence the partner, right? The spouse? How can I influence them? I can encourage them. I'm modeling for them how to go about it. But I never want to nag. I never want to guilt. I never want to shame. I'm constantly praying, God, put relationships in their lives, open their eyes.
Yeah.
And I have story after story after story of couples who one was engaged with the church, the other wasn't, and then a moment came in which it happened. So you never want to turn it into, though, like a competition for attention of so let's go just gender stereotype. Let's say she wants him to be more engaged, and yet he's getting very jealous of all the time she's spending. And every time he turns around, she's reading the Bible, and so there's never any connection between the two of them. And then he could actually start looking at her faith as a barrier, as the danger between the two of them.
Wow.
So you want to make sure that you're still connecting and modeling and loving and being the best spouse that you possibly can be, all while praying, God, open their eyes. And I think that's straight out of Corinthians, in which that's the case of how we go about that.
So on a deep question, how if there's been a lot of tension in a marriage to the point where there's potential divorce? It's at and one is really leaning into God, and I can see them healing and becoming this person, and now it's getting to the point where their eyes are very open as to how bad it was, but also how bad she still is, or he still is, right? Where now there's almost a resentment, and it's like, why don't you see it? How can't you see it? And it's like a frustration. What's the suggestion, encouragement?
I see it all the time. And I think in that moment, you just have to recognize, as the temptation is to be frustrated at your spouse for not seeing it, recognize it. You didn't see it. You went this whole time that way. So you should have great compassion for them and a gratitude that God has opened your eyes. And I think to recognize that this is a gift from God that he's given me, not that I suddenly have done this and now you need to do what I'm doing. But oh my goodness, thank you, God, for what you've given to me. And then you begin to recognize, I don't know why God is drawing me close to him at this moment, why this is the season of my life that my eyes are open. But either if this marriage succeeds, I'm going to be such a better husband because of it. Or if she leaves me, I'm going to be so much better equipped to deal with that pain than what I would otherwise. Here's what I often see. I often see from a woman's perspective, a woman going through a painful marital situation, a woman tends to run toward God and gets better for it. And many times men will run away from God. Sometimes what happens is when the relationship is bad, and let's say specifically an affair's happened or something, and he's gotten caught, sometimes that will cause him to run to God. And man, he's on fire. She's done. She's prayed for years. I've had this conversation a million times with wives specifically. Look, I know it's not fair. It's unfortunate, but here's the thing. Notice this. What you have prayed for years has finally come true. Why don't you give this another year to see? Is it going to be lasting? Now, if the pain's too much, that's your choice. You're free to do what you want to do here. But I would hate for you, at the moment your prayers are finally answered, for you to give up. What would it look like if you stuck in it to some extent? And so those are very common outcomes.
And I'm thinking about that side of it where it's like she's been hurt. I'm thinking about an alcoholic situation where he found freedom from that, and over the next 7 years, he's just on fire for Christ. But there was 10 years prior to that where it was hurtfulness to her. And so now suddenly he has this breakthrough, and there's like, hey, that's not fair. I'm still the one that's hurt. And he's off doing this and loving it. And it's just like, come along. No, I am. So what does she need to kind of work through in order to get through that moment?
Well, she rightfully does not believe him. And he needs to recognize that. She shouldn't believe me. How many times have I been fired up about something and haven't followed through? That's a part of the whole problem. And so I'm going to outlast that. That's what he needs to be thinking. And she needs to think, all right, I'll see. I wouldn't just, automatically believe. Let's just stand back. No, you don't want to douse his faith or anything like that with water. But it is this idea of, look, you can be honest. Honey, you've been fired up about a million things. Remember this business deal, remember this thing, remember that thing. I just need to see it over time. And I believe in you. I want this for you. And if this happens, I'm going to be here. But don't expect me at this moment to assume, again, we can't just wipe the slate clean and pretend like everything's fine. We got to deal with the issues.
I love it.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
We're changing the odds. That's what we're doing. Brought
Mhm.
to you by Coke Zero. What if I keep? You think if I keep on doing this, eventually
I
they'll
think
send me
so.
something?
Let's start.
Like,
Let's
No.
start. No.
No?
Oh, okay. There's
some Pro
that.
V1s maybe
Yeah.
with Coca-Cola on the side?
Oh,
Maybe.
that'd be
Maybe.
nice.
That's a possibility.
That's nice.
We
If-
can pray.
If you have any Coca-Cola connection, pass this on to your friends.
Absolutely.
Call Warren Buffett. Let him know. Hey, you can always text marriage to 56316. We do these episodes probably once a quarter. And so we'd be more than happy to answer your question. Marriage to 56316. Until next time, have a great day.